My friend back there, Mr. Neo. Woo! We're waiting, man.
No, thank God now I have a wife. I'm using her phone right now. It's just crazy. I don't know what is happening. It's like for some reason, both my devices are trying to really jeopardize me.
It also looks like you changed outfits. Were you wearing this?
Yeah, I was wearing this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, probably. It looks maybe different through a different phone, but I was wearing this.
Man, I want to get straight into it. Tell us about who Neo is. Who is Neo? Where did you grow up? I've known you for quite some time. Before you got into Bitcoin. So for the person who's hearing your voice for the first time and who's listening, we're broadcasting all over the world. Who would you say Neo is?
Well, first of all, let me also show my gratitude to you, brother. Thank you very, very much for hosting me on your show. Very, very proud of what you're doing and the person you've become. I mean, as you said, we've known each other now for quite some time, so I'm quite excited by the fact that we can actually finally come together at some point and share different thoughts. But for those who don't know who I am Cheka. I was born in Cape Town. That's where I grew up, spent most of my life that side. I came to the Eastern Cape in 2009. And that was, so my father passed on in 2002. And then my mother remarried in 2008. And then 2009, we moved to, a small town in the Eastern Cape called Queenstown. That's where I matriculated.
Is it a small town?
Yeah, it's a small town, isn't it? I know that. I know Middelburg is smaller. So.
Let's not go there.
Yeah. So, and then from there I moved to Port Elizabeth, and that's that's back in 2012. That's where I moved to Port Elizabeth to pursue my studies in electrical engineering, right? Because I mean, all of us, there's what we call the global dream: go to school, get a good grades, and get a good job. That was me, that was my formula, because deep inside me, I really wanted to become successful. I know this is a bit of my introduction, but just to digress a bit, one of the things I was sharing this, my mentor was sharing this with me. He says when he was growing up in the township, in the poverty that he obviously had experienced, he did not realize he was poor. He only realized he was poor when he went to Model C schools, because his parents did their level best to get him a good, education. But it's only when he got to the Model C schools where he really started to see that, no, man, this is not how, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because now the references are quite different, right? Yeah. It's a whole new reference. So he says that, there would be PT days where he had to show up with his PT clothes. Now it's no longer school uniform. I had to show up with the clothes that he has. And then he realizes, but no, other people are wearing good clothing, are wearing cheap stuff. If and when I wear, I probably wear the same thing over and over, because my parents sacrificed so much for me to be here. And so what was supposed to be an uplifting experience to him ended up being, one of the most degrading experiences, because now he had a sort of a shot of reality of what life is for the people that he's currently exposed to. And, I had my fair share of that too. I mean, I went to a school, I went to a primary school where there was only 5 black people in the whole school. 5 black, predominantly Africans and white people, So
where was that? Queenstown?
No, that was in Cape Town.
Sure.
Yes, because my mother, she did a level best to get me to a good school and to obviously in a good neighborhood. But the kids that I went to school with, these were rich kids. These were rich kids. You could see the ease at which they live. And how I would need to smuggle there and there. But in the township, I was rich. But in my
other side of life,
I was poor. So I had to juggle between the two. But the nice thing about that is that I had a reality in my mind that life could be much more better because of what I'd seen from my peers. So that's what I wanted. I wanted this. I didn't want that feeling of sort of feeling out of place, because of my economic standpoint. So I always wanted to become successful. I wanted to drive the fancy cars because that's what I saw. I wanted to live in the big houses because that's where my friends lived. You know, that's what I wanted, you know, for myself. And so when I asked my mother, what do I need to do to live that kind of life? She said, my son, you need to go to school. Work hard at school, get good grades. And once you work, and then once you've got the good grades, you know, you'll get a good job. When you get the good job, you're going to get the good money. You know? Back in my mind, I'm asking, but then, Mom, how did you miss the formula? Like, how did you miss the formula? In the back of my mind, but guess what? Black people are taught not to ask questions. Eh?
Yeah. And you couldn't even ask her that because it's taboo.
Couldn't ask, you know. So obviously I went ahead, gave it my best at school. I was, even though being in an Afrikaans school, I was part of the top 3 throughout my whole schooling.
Sure.
Even when I went to Queenstown, I was always one of the top students because in the back of my mind, this was my, you know,
That's the formula my mother gave you.
That was the formula that was given.
In the back of my mind, you were just pursuing that formula. Go to school, get good grades, get a good job, and you'll be fine.
That's all I was doing. And reality struck. I had good grades. I had gotten good education. I mean, I was studying electrical engineering. I worked as a junior electrical engineer for one of the biggest engineering firms. And guess what? When I got there, I realized that people were broken, and people were broke. Ain't nothing worse than being broke and broken.
Yo,
okay,
man.
You know, people are broken, and that's when I decided. 3 years within me working, in fact, a year and a half within me working, I realized that this is not the life I want to sign up for. Because when you're in a working environment, you meet people who've been there for 15 years. You know, don't only learn. I always say, don't only learn, you know, from their experiences in terms of work experience, but learn from the life experience that you're exposed to. Ask yourself, look around you and ask yourself, are these people that are in your workplace, you know, are they happy?
Yeah.
If not, ask yourself, then what do you think is going to be different about you in the next 15 years? You're probably going to be in that position. You're probably going to be earning that kind of money that they're earning, but they're still not happy. So for some reason, we have this comforting, you know, statement that we give to ourselves that when I get there, I'm going to be better. When I get there, I'm not going to be reckless as they are. Oh, I'm going to save my money better. I'm going to be smarter with my finances. You know, those kind of things where you think when you get there, and that is how people get into that, you know, psychocybernetic loop.
What? Wait,
end up
the psycho what? Your English
cybernetic loop.
Psycho what?
Cybernetic loop.
Cybernetic. Okay, crypto entrepreneurs. And this morning we're talking all things Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. As a person that doesn't know much, I thought it would be great if I brought in someone who has been growing in this and who's doing really, really well, who's mentoring hundreds, if not thousands, I don't know, Neo, of other people that are growing in the space. So the question I have for you now is, what is this thing, man? For someone who doesn't know, like me, you know, and for someone who's listening out there who wants to know, man, what is this Bitcoin and cryptocurrency thing? In a simpler way, how would you simplify it and explain it?
Okay, cool. So fantastic stuff. I'll do the best I can. Well, for people who must actually, you know, just please note this, that Bitcoin, just like the internet, I mean, you can imagine right now, Luphumlo, you know, going to someone who has never touched a computer before and really try to summarize what a computer is, that particular person, you know, within given 30 minutes or so. So people should appreciate the fact that that it's almost impossible to know everything about what Bitcoin is, because just like in the internet, it's an evolving technology. All right. So I'll tell you first what Bitcoin is not. So Bitcoin, number one, is not a money-making platform. That's the first thing you should note. Bitcoin in itself is not a money-making platform. Number two, Bitcoin is not a get-rich-quick scheme. Okay? So fortunately, Bitcoin number three is not an investment. Okay? Those are the three things that we always have to note. Bitcoin number one, not a
money-making thing. It's not a get-rich-quick thing.
And then thirdly, it's not an investment.
Okay.
So very, very important to note, because once we clear that, we then can develop context. Because oftentimes when people hear the word Bitcoin, they think these three things.
Yeah.
And therefore, whatever you say, it doesn't matter what you say, because, they carry that particular perspective, they're able to get the gist of what Bitcoin is here. And therefore, they are limited in terms of seeing what Bitcoin has actually come to do. Okay. So let me put it to you this way.
Yeah.
So Bitcoin, if Bitcoin then is not a money-making scheme, then what is Bitcoin? Number one, Bitcoin, it's the new digital currency. It's a currency. So number one, Bitcoin, it's a currency. Okay. So like any other currency, what do we use currency for? To buy, to pay bills, to facilitate payments, all those particular things. That's what we do with currency. Okay. But what we have to understand and appreciate is that throughout time, currency has always changed from one form to another. Money has always been the same. We've always needed money. We've always used money. But money through time has constantly been evolving. Okay? So for argument, less form of trade, what did we have? We had the bartering system. Where if I had potatoes and you had, tomatoes, if we could exchange that, because so money back in the days were goods and services or products. We're changing goods for goods. And then money evolved from there, because guess what happened, Luphumlo? As people, we began to interact more. People from different areas of society began to interact with each other. But so they needed a form of exchange that was not going to be corrupted by the sun, because obviously vegetables, you can imagine carrying 15 or 20 kilos of vegetables through hot sun, on foot. By the time it gets to the other person, it's spoiled. You know what I mean? Therefore, that form of money was not sustainable because of the kind of setup. So they needed something new. Okay, so that is when now we started going into commodities. So people started exchanging silver, gold, all these particular precious metals, and that became the form of exchange of the time. Right? But again, through mass human interaction, we needed a better currency. It was not feasible and safe to carry huge stacks of gold because you want to go buy land. So guess what happened? People then began to print notes. That was a representation of the gold you have. So back in the days, we had what we called goldsmiths. The goldsmiths, they were the ones keeping the gold. So if you had, let's say for argument's sake, 10,000 rands worth of gold with them, they were going to give you a note, a certificate that says that you own 10,000 rand of gold. So you could go to someone else and make a transaction, and stating that now I have 10,000 rand worth of gold. Here's the proof, so you can give me that product or service. So that's why we had this new paper money, right? And these transactions were recorded by these goldsmiths, and they held records of all these transactions that was taking place by this, piece of certificate, which we now call money too. But then as time went on, we start now moving from paper money, to digital money. Right now, I let me prophesy.
Come on.
90% of the money that you have right now, you don't withdraw, you swipe.
Yeah. That's true. Go deeper, Papa.
Okay. Why? It's because now it's the new that's the new transition. So money has constantly been evolving, but this is probably one of the first times when money is evolving where we have an opportunity to benefit from that particular revolution. Okay. So now money is not just digital. We want money to be digital and global.
Okay.
So money needs to be global, because what we've been able to do with the internet, we've been able to globalize communication. It was only through the internet where you being in, China, you can be able to speak to someone in the US, at a click of a button.
So what you're saying in one sentence is Bitcoin is a global digital currency.
Yes, it is.
So in Bitcoin being a global digital currency, I just want you to share a bit about your story, how not in so many words, but how you got into Bitcoin and how you got to grow and build a business? Because when I see what you're doing, I see it as you're just building a huge network of people that you're mentoring. I mean, one of the guys that I think is part of your team is Netemba, which is a good friend of mine. You know, so how did you get into Bitcoin, and how did for you, how did it impact and change your life? Because man, your life is so different, man. You're not who you were 3 years ago.
I understand. You know, many people try to. So when I say that, many people try to reconcile what I've just said. It's just the currency that's going to change the world, global. Then, dude, how do you have all of these things that you have? Now, that's let me reconcile those two ideas. In every revolution, in any transition, there are what we call early adopters, and early adopters always make the most money. You know, late movers always end up they just becoming late users. All they become is users, right? And I say this like for argument's sake, the first people to build infrastructure on the internet, they were the ones who really occupied the space and made the most money.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
But
and
because of the demand,
just give me an example of that. Who are you referring to?
Yeah,
those people who build infrastructures on the internet.
So for argument's sake, you know, one of the look at Amazon. Amazon was one of the first companies to ever exist on the internet. That is why today, biggest, you know. So the biggest company today is not the company that owns the most land, capital, and labor. It's the company that owns the biggest company today in the world is the company that owns the most internet space. Why? Because internet is where the whole world has moved to. Now the world is moving to cryptocurrency. The world is moving now towards cryptocurrency. The world is moving towards digital currencies. Now, the ones who occupy the space quick enough. This is why we said it's a time-sensitive opportunity. When Bitcoin started, it had no value because no one knew about it. But when people began to know the power and begin to understand the power of Bitcoin, universities began to research about this new emerging technology. Guess what happened, Luphumlo? The demand for Bitcoin went up. So in 2009, no one knew, very few people knew about Bitcoin. In 2010, that's the first time we actually experienced a Bitcoin transaction. Took place on the 22nd of May, 2010, right? Where a guy said on an online platform, if anyone could bring me 2 pizzas, I'm going to give them 10,000 Bitcoins. And for the first time, the world was going to witness a transaction take place online, you know, borderlessly, without need of any ID whatsoever, you know. And when this took place, people went crazy. People wanted Bitcoin. You know, institutions began to develop, began to research on what Bitcoin is. And Bitcoin in 2010 had value for the first time. One Bitcoin was $140. Now, in dollars, it was about $10 at 10 cents at the time, in dollars. 3 years later, the value of Bitcoin grew. Why? Because demand had grown. So many people know about it, as I said. Now, those who knew about it first had the opportunity to accumulate a lot. So, and then as more people know about it, more people want it. But what happens to the value? It grows, just like gold, just like all other commodities. They grow because of demand in it. Now, Bitcoin is capped in supply, meaning there's only going to be few Bitcoin. There's only going to be 21 million Bitcoins in the world, you know, and there's about over 7.7 billion people on the planet. So you can imagine 7.7 billion people wanting this huge global digital currency. And this is where the value growth of Bitcoin comes from. The value growth of Bitcoin comes from the fact that there's so much demand in that Bitcoin provides a solution and an alternative for what we have as the normal currency system, the old one, the inconvenient one. It's very inconvenient, by the way. Yeah? I'll talk about its inconvenience if you allow me to. It's very inconvenient. I'm not sure if you know that if you send money to someone across the world, you know, that the transaction fees vary from 5 to 30%. In other words, if you're sending $1 million to China, it could get there and be 700,000. Okay. Now we need something better than that. You know, that transaction could even take 4, 5, 6 days. But guess what? With Bitcoin, those transactions are instant. You know, and the transaction fee is less. So people want Bitcoin. This is why countries like Japan, Switzerland, many other countries, New Zealand, have started adopting this currency as a second currency because that's what they want. But as adoption goes, the value also goes up because adoption means demand. Demand means value growth. So all those guys who had a lot of Bitcoins at the beginning, the early believers, the early adopters, the ones who are less afraid of being scammed, okay, all right, they acquired a lot of Bitcoins, and today, Bitcoin's no longer 140 today, unfortunately, Luphumlo. 10 years later, Bitcoin is sitting at over 225,000 rand per Bitcoin. The same Bitcoin that was 140 in 2010 is now over 225,000 today per coin.
Sure. I don't want to ask you. I don't want to ask you how many Bitcoins you have, because that's going to reveal how. But we're going to pause it right there. I think you're giving us so much of valuable information. We're going to take a short break, but after the break, I want us to get into how I want us to demystify this thing. You know,
okay.
How did it work for Neo? Let's personalize it. How did it work for you?
Yeah.
You know, what steps did you take? Who did you meet? And how did this thing impact and change your life? Without getting a bit too theoretical and stuff, but let's just personalize these things for the people who are listening, who are still skeptic and who still have lots of questions. And if you're tuning in, you can send your questions. We're live on Facebook, on our Soulstream radio page. We're also live on my page as well. If you have any questions for Mr. Neo regarding cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, drop us a text on 067 067 7366 067 067 736.
Okay, let me start by saying the following, that for those who are skeptical, don't worry, I was there too. I was very skeptical. Took me almost a year to get involved. I heard about Bitcoin. One Bitcoin was 8,000. I only got involved with just 38,000. But now it's 225,000. Sure. But when I got involved, I was introduced by a mentor of mine, who is now a mentor. Back then, he was just someone I knew, by the name of Luphumlo. He introduced me to the opportunity, and this opportunity was called cryptocurrency. It was Bitcoin mining, okay? Because all Bitcoins, before they come into circulation, they need to be mined. So I had the opportunity of actually getting a license to mine these coins, okay? So guess what? The opportunity is still there for people. So since 2017, I've been mining Bitcoin. And then last year, this is now 2019, July, we had another opportunity. Now, this opportunity is really what this was the game changer. This was a game changer. A company by the name of Mining City. Mining City was also mining Bitcoin, but they were on plans on developing a new coin called Bitcoin Vault. Now, this coin was going to give people the same access to what Bitcoin had done previously. Okay, but this time now, a lot of people know about it. Therefore, the opportunity is greater for a lot of people. So we started mining a coin called Bitcoin Vault, and God, oh God, has things been really great for us. So now the nice thing about Mining City, it allows any person, doesn't matter where you're from, you can buy a package. So I bought a package. I think the minimum package at the time was about 8.5, but now it's about close to 11,000. So I bought a package with them and I started accumulating. So without me doing a single thing, I started making a bit of money. Just good. And honestly, remember, mining is an automatic process. So it's not something, you don't have to go trade, you don't have to go, understand the markets. It's just you buying a license to accumulate a digital asset. So
okay, say that again. It's just you buying a license to accumulate a digital asset. Okay.
Asset. Now, this asset can either be Bitcoin or Bitcoin Vault. But because we are excited about the new kid in the block, me and my friends and my business partners and my mentees, all of us are accumulating this new digital asset called Bitcoin Vault, right? And this Bitcoin Vault, we started accumulating that now last year. It was launched. It was actually launched around August last year. And it started having its value on the 16th of December. It was $1. Today, the coin is it's about $70. It has grown by more than 7,000% in less than 1 year. So, but this is the exciting thing for me, is that previously, for people to get access to such knowledge, they had to pay millions. They had to have a net worth of about 3, 4, 5 million. But right now, a company like Mining City is able to give access to, so you have access to go and just purchase the license from them, and you'll have your own your own back office. where you can just log on. Like if you're going on, if you have a Facebook account, you can operate a mining back office. You know what I mean? So you log on, just check, okay, your earnings. So you got paid tonight, go back. Because the dividend, I'll call it rather the rewards or the earnings of that particular license are paid to you on a daily basis. Right? So that's what I've been doing. But the company, I realized, number one, that I'm not going to be rich just by mining. Just by mining alone is not going to make me rich. Just by sitting there and waiting for this thing, 8.5 or 11,000 rand was not going to make me, earn over 6 figures a month just by sitting there and just relaxing. It's not real.
Yeah.
But the company, what it does is it allowed people like me also, it has given us a business opportunity, a network marketing opportunity to say that, look, you can literally build a franchise and an organization where you can literally consult and distribute this kind of information, through a network of people, and you will get paid for that. And man, oh man, did I realize that this was going to be my major breakthrough. I
want us to go. Don't pause. I want us to go into that. That's what I'm looking for. How did your life change, man? From the Neo I knew 3 years ago to the Neo we're seeing today.
So a lot has changed, and unfortunately, I can't speak about what caused the change. Well, partly yes, the vehicle was Bitcoin. But let me put it to you this way. I was broke. I was broke. I was struggling. I was a hustler. You know what I mean? And by the way, the car that I was driving was not even my car.
Really?
It was my friend's. Yeah, my friend's car was now my wife.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I had a car that was doing Uber, but I was probably around the same car too. So I was driving her car, and I'd resigned, from work and stuff like that. So things were quite hectic, not really that easy for me, but I kept pushing and I kept building this business where I was educating people about Bitcoin and allowing them to also access this mining license, right? And the more licenses I was able to distribute, the more money I also began to make over above my mining earnings, the earnings I was earning from my license. And I built this business within, things really started to change last year for me. Things changed last year. I had a dream that when I'm 30 years old, I'm going to buy myself a Mercedes-Benz AMG. And I bought that car last year, from the money
I saw that, man. Congrats. I saw that. That was mind-blowing, man. That was unbelievable.
And just over my financial year, if you put from November last year to now, I've made millions.
Sure.
I've
made millions for you, or millions that have gone to the business?
No. I've made myself. I've took home at least over the past 6 months, I took home more than about 4 million just over the past 6 months. Right?
Me,
but my sales organization that I've built over the past, over the past 18 months, the sales organization has done more than 40 million rand in sales.
Sure.
That's the revenue generated by my whole organization.
So that's your network of people.
That's my particular network organization. But guess what, Luphumlo? Did not do this because I was special. This is where I say the reason why I am today is not just because there's a lot of people who are in Bitcoin who do not make the kind of money that I'm making. And the reason is that number one, I got mentoring. Many people want to be successful, but the reality of it is that they don't have any impartation of success. They're surrounded by broke people. They're surrounded by people who speak in their language. When I got into this opportunity, I had the privilege of being surrounded by people who were making the millions that I wanted.
Yeah.
I was far away from the life I'm living right now. Luphumlo would tell you. But when I went into this opportunity, not only did I just have this good Bitcoin mining opportunity, but I had an opportunity also to be exposed to people who were making millions. And they mentored me free of charge. You would know in the traditional business how much it costs.
Yeah.
I was mentored free of charge on how to grow this particular business, given all the tools, skills, and knowledge to grow this particular business. So I had a wonderful environment. I had wonderful mentorship. I had a wonderful business opportunity. And obviously the timing was perfect for me. Putting all four of those aspects together literally saw me to where I am. And it's not just me. A lot of people, through my mentorship, I've been able to get a lot of success stories too. I have a young man who, 23 years old. I think I should hook you up with him. He's 23 years old. I met him about 16 months ago in dance. I met him in
I saw him. He drives a black A4, I think. Or
yes, he drives now a Mercedes-Benz an Audi A4. At the age of 23, he was selling car spraying cans. These things he was selling that 16 months ago. Little did I know that in East London he was living in a shack. That he called home. His home was a shack. And 16. At least 12 months later from that time, he had now bought his own car cash. He had now living in a nice apartment. He's now supporting his mother, who's so dear to her. I mean, just last week when another lady was struggling to pay rent about 6 months ago, struggling to pay rent, struggling to, do a lot of things. She got inside of an opportunity 6 months later. Through all of these 4 things that I told you about, she's now happy, excited about life, and last week she just bought herself, a brand new car too, cash. You know what I mean? And just a lot. I mean, we have people on the borderline of depression, losing, their minds because of the things that they have lost, the time that they have lost. And through God's grace and guidance, we're able to reconcile that through this particular opportunity. And so this is why I say sharing these stories and having this particular vehicles is what gives me life and really pushes me to go every day, because there's just so many stories to change. I mean, I mentor a group of over, close to 600 people right now. That's the people in my network, and, before the end of the year, our aim is to get to 2,000. And, with the team that I have, with the mentorship that I still have, with the group, and the support that we have, all these things are so possible, and so for us, we provide the environment for people to come in and succeed just like we.
And I see you guys have meetings at 5 a.m. every day. You're on meetings. I was like, what? 5 a.m. meetings. I want to ask you one last question because we're out of time. One last question just for 2 minutes, man. How do we change the mindset of this being all about money and mammon? There's a mindset that Bitcoin is all about chasing money and mammon. And I liked how you started. You said to me, Luphumlo, this is not just about making money or an investment or anything like that. So how do you change that mindset of people into making this about changing people's lives? Because I love the stories you've shared with me of how Bitcoin was able to transform a life of a guy who lived in a shack, who's now able to provide for his family. I think for me, that's what business is about. It's not about really chasing numbers, although that's important. It's really about seeing how we can add value to the lives of other people, how we can impact unemployment, poverty, and inequality. So how can we change that mindset? Number 2, how can people get hold of Neo? If someone is listening and they want to reach out to you, how can they get hold of you? And number 3, what advice do you have to listeners who are still skeptic about Bitcoin, who are listening? In just those 3 things, and then we'll end off.
Okay, cool. So number 1, how do we change the particular mindset? Well, what many people don't understand is that, and this is unfortunate, many people start businesses to survive and not really to thrive. Your business is a reflection of who you are. It's an expression. We do business the same way artists, be it entertainment, find expression when they are doing music. Business people find expression when they are doing business. So we express ourselves through business. Business is not the dream. Business is the vehicle to the dream. The dream is to help people, touch people's lives. And the best way we can do that is by business. So that is why it cannot just be about the money. It must become about the destination. And the destination is never money. The vehicle might be money, but the destination is never money. Right? So in spite of, and I'm telling you this, I mean, I've made quite a bit of money. And I can tell you right now, a lot of money is good. Yes, it can help you do a lot of things that you want to do. It's about the moments that you're able to create, the lives you're able to change with the money you have. But secondly, I think I think you broke up with question number 2. But I think I'll just rush to question number 3. You will repeat question number 2 for me. Question number 3, you ask, what can you do about people who are skeptic? Now, it's okay to be skeptic, but it's bad to remain skeptic. Your skepticism should be a trampoline to where you are jumping on so that you can go and learn more. If you're skeptical about something, learn more about it. Being skeptical is not a good thing. You must be decisive. You're either going to do something or you're not going to do something. Being skeptical is like, yeah, I see. You don't know much about. It's very. Ignorance is same WhatsApp group with poverty. People who are ignorant and people who are poor, same WhatsApp group. So it's very, very important that if you are critical about something, do what you've just done right now. You don't know, you're skeptical, you don't know, you see this, that, but you want to know how. What can I do? What do you do? You ask a question. I love what you said, So if you're skeptical about something, ask questions. Just go and dig in more until you are satisfied and you're no longer skeptical. That's what I can do. That's the best way. Unfortunately, Luphumlo, people don't want to educate themselves. They always want to just give your money to Neo and he's going to make you rich. Life does not work like that. And unfortunately, they give their money to the wrong people and they end up, and people who are often skeptical are often looking for a quick return too. They want to invest a little and get a lot, So it's very, very important. Get knowledge first before you put in your money. That's the only way to erase skepticism. What is your second question, by the way?
I wanted to know, how do people get hold of Neo? People who are out there that want to reach out to you, how do they get hold of you?
Okay, cool. So I'm obviously on Instagram, I'm Neo Cheka, NEOCHEKA. On Facebook, it's Neo Cheka. I have a business page and I have a personal page. Both of them are Neo Cheka. Twitter at Neo Cheka. Excuse me. And that's where you connect with me for more information. I will hook you up, and I promise you, I don't want your money first. I want your head first. Give me your head. Give me your head, and after you've given your head, you can decide what to do with your money.
Wow, man, that's powerful. Do you have a website? I've seen that you.
Yes. Oh, yes. I've got a website. It's www.newocheka.com. And I also have another one, www.getrichactivist.com. Okay. Yeah.
Wow. We're actually looking at your website at this. I don't know if you can see my screen.
Yes.
This is, you've got a great website, man. Make money with crypto. So www.neocheka, as you can see on the video, you've got training videos there, webinar registrations, and you've got a blog. This is beautiful stuff. So if you want to know more about crypto, if you want to know more about Bitcoin, this is the person to talk to. I see your cell number is also there. Is that your cell number?
Yes, that's my cell number.
Awesome. And your email address so people can reach out to you. Man, thank you so much for taking the time and chatting to us. This has been great. We're going to edit this and put it up on YouTube so a lot of other people can know more about Bitcoin, man, and what you're doing and your life story and the lives that you are changing. So just pass my greetings to the wife. And thank you so much, my brother.
Awesome stuff, man. Thank you for hosting me, brother. It was a pleasure being with you. And big ups to the work that you're doing. You're doing awesome. Thank you. Thanks a lot. You're inspiring us. And yeah, it's good, man.
Thanks, brother.
By the way, I'm writing a book. After you wrote a book, I also decided to write a book.
Wow, that's excellent.
Book,
when you're back, we must meet up and see, how we can support that cause. I'd love to read that book.
Fantastic stuff.
Excellent. So that was Mr. Neo. We're out of time. It's 8 o'clock this morning, and we were talking to Mr. Neo Cheka, Mr. Bitcoin, and he's been telling us about how to get involved with Bitcoin and what we can do and what Bitcoin is. In fact, a lot of people are skeptic. That's why we thought we should bring this guy on board and he should speak to us. I hope that you've gained a lot. I hope that you are encouraged and you're blessed, and I hope, you're going to go back and do your homework and just maybe find out more about what this thing is and if you want to get involved, how you can get involved. Soul Stream Radio, this is what we're all about. We're about good quality content, bringing you great quality stuff, and we are about changing people's lives. Until next time, next week Tuesday, we're going to have more great guests. We're going to bring you this content, guys. Until next time, next week Tuesday, we'll have a great guest. I'm bringing next week Tuesday a guy who built a business in PE and is making quality returns on his business. He's an accountant or bookkeeper. He'll tell us what the difference is, but he'll be coming on studio and sharing a bit more about his journey as well. He does a lot of work with the government, so we're looking forward to that. Next week, Tuesday, 7 to 8. Next week, Thursday, 7 to 8. Until next time.